Hello, StartUpSity speaking, and this is late in the night where I'm going to show how the Chinese are beating the Africans at basketball in doing. Can you imagine short men knowing how to beat black men at basketball? That travesty has never happened before. Yeah, we have students that are manufacturing various kinds of nails designs, and this is a sample way on how to do it. I simply got artificial nails where students can practice doing their nails. I place a transparent nylon bag and how to make designs on nails that can be detached. This is a trial, as usual, when it comes to product development, and a lot of things often go wrong, and many people aren't recording their initial findings. So, which is why it's very hard to trace the beginnings of what the forefathers had been doing, because at the time when things were being done, there weren't many educated people, and secrets have been kept. You just do it anyhow. Whatever results come up, you can simply recreate it again and again until you have reached your perfect solution. Today, people think that they have to start business in a perfect manner, which is what is delaying a lot of progress. They are afraid that at the beginning they are not going to be accepted. The truth of the matter is, even if your product is perfect, somebody else will find it not perfect. And sitting and delaying progress doesn't work for the market. So young children in school aren't taught what product development is. Therefore, project management is very hard for them to achieve at the beginning. Hence, they are fearful to industrialize in Nigeria, for instance. The fact that the young are not part of the development process in businesses at a young age makes it difficult to train them later for business and marketing. And in meeting people, it becomes difficult. So employers end up having issues with training. The fact that marketers are told that they need to make competitive analysis, in many businesses, people are shutting down from training their staff simply because they are afraid if their product designs are going to be leaked out. Hence, there are a lot of processes and procedures that are in companies that the young who start within companies cannot break through, and they are feeling inadequate. But if we research today on the internet, we'll find out that a lot of people abroad are giving out information that perhaps 2 to 5 years before was a secret. And this creates wars in societies where a lot of pretense is going on, and you wouldn't know who is your teammates or who is your staff. So eventually, what happens is that many companies, in order to keep their secrets, have opened not just one company, but 2 or 3 at the same time, and they had spread their information in between those companies, so it looks like it's confusing to ever find out any kind of information on what to do, which is why half the time the information we're dealing with on the internet, or generally that's coming from people, is difficult to understand. So in this case, for instance, I have made some dots and made some fun looking thing, and then on the other just something transparent. By the time it dries, you can simply peel off what has been layered on this polyethylene. Alternatively, what can be used is what's his name? Sealing tape that you can simply, like strips, put it on, and then you flip it over, cut it out into shape, and then paste it on the nail. This is what I'm talking about, because when founders are starting their own business, a lot of people would be interested in the moment, but there is very little insight that they will see, because even if you are honest, whatever information that comes to you becomes dishonest, simply because people do not understand perspectives. Nobody will ever understand your perspective, for the simple fact that we're all different. We all have our own experiences. So initially in a business, when you come in, you're going to be perceived as a liar, and you're going to spend time in trying to prove to anybody that you're not what they say. By the time you get stuck in that feeling that everybody thinks you're a liar, you end up losing faith in yourself, in being able to continue your business, which is why some founders had given up on their businesses. Let's take, for instance, the story of Coca-Cola. It was started by a medical student who was in the army, and he had been looking for a cure for tuberculosis, which came from rusted iron during the industrial age. And in the process of testing it on himself, he became a drug addict. Coca-Cola is made of different kinds of products. In France, they denied him access to the market, simply because at the time of industrialization, France was in charge of records of people's inventions, and because they weren't interested at the time in sorting out their business angles, they rejected him, and then they after accepted him. So these are the things that happen in the business world, where the young don't know how to orientate themselves in businesses any longer, and they're being shoved and pushed into various angles. So that's why the young do not want to work for startups, because they feel there is no reward in it. All they think about is money to pay their salaries, but they are in jobs that are very mediocre. Their parents are convincing them that money is the only thing that is important, because, hey, like I heard it when I was young, not na your papa business where you want to kill yourself put. I started here as an entrepreneur in embroidery in Benin, and the person who today wants to call himself my father, when I arrived to Nigeria, he could hardly be bothered to say, "Also, you know Russian, you know how to be in computers, why don't you be at home, open a little bit of a workshop?" He didn't know that I know how to embroider. He didn't even know how I got my computer and IT skills. He simply gave me $1,000 to spend as a test trial. He was testing me all this while, all my life, to see how I am with money, because his daft wife was always conscious of money. So he put me in harm's way with his first wife constantly all through my life. So I was very glad when they left for Kaduna and I remained here in Benin. I could focus on my life. This is the kind of advice he gives girls, where he misleads them into thinking that all women want is money. Meanwhile, he's the one who is after money. Hence, you see that I go my way today. I wouldn't listen to such a man. He's not an example to me. I have scars to show for it, physical scars, talk less about emotional scars. He thinks I'm going to be grateful to him for giving me a place here today. Just as I left 25 years ago this house when he came to harass me, so he harassed me in my own marriage. So he was miserable in his own marriage, and he decided that everybody has to be miserable in theirs. Anytime I'm about to do anything, he always puts obstacles in. He always uses outsiders to attack me. He doesn't understand. For 19 years, I've had my son who is autistic. He has never bothered to one day even help. When we were in South Africa, he sidelined him and was busy with my daughter playing grandfather. I gave him a very long leash for a very long time, constantly having to give him therapy to get over his inadequacies as a professional. His father disturbed him from achieving his own aim as a sports boy in football, so he gave all the priorities to Osaze Odenge, and he left me aside. So, being his guardian constantly, I have no faith neither in him nor them, and I did what an agent secretly ought to do and openly at the same time. So these two men, they presume that they had achieved all they can in their lives, and they're feeling like low lives because all of a sudden I had come up and sprung up and did all the things that I have done, which is evidence on the internet. So that is the kind of people I am dealing with constantly in my life. I have a daughter to raise. I have a son to manage. And all I should be busy doing is training these people who are here. That's a low blow to me. At a young age, you may not have a choice to manage your siblings, but at an older age, some sense has to enter into your head that you had been in a situation where you had no choice just because physically men think that they can oppress you. With all the building of the houses and real estate that he had done in Benin, he's still feeling very low about his life because he can't earn the big man's money, and to show for himself that he is able to earn the money. So his problems personally are from his father, which is why I'm not too bitter about anything. I'm angry, yes. Bitterness doesn't exist. So here you can see in this example how girls and boys can go into designing various nails. This is just as an example of how to design nails, and it's all over the internet. So young girls and boys can start painting different kinds of things. Unfortunately, the internet is not free for the students, for them to learn and see things. And in Nigeria, they don't believe in passing on information on how things are done, because most people are actually traders. Yeah, these are the kind of fathers that we deal with in Nigeria, which is why your economy is down the drain. Politicians are talking big grammar instead of giving knowledge to the young, and that's why you have your ASU strike. There is nothing to learn except from people abroad. The diaspora isn't interested in providing any kind of information, so the youth end up having to learn, and they want to leave the country to find greener pastures. Eventually what happens is that when they get abroad, they often find themselves in bad hands, even if with relatives, because the type of jobs that they live here with has been outdated. So they have to start all over again there, and because the families here don't give orientation, there is lack of communication. There was no phones, cell phones, and internet at the time. There was a lot of misinformation, and those guys who were considered fraudsters then are only now trying to come up as businessmen and trying to renew themselves. So when you approach diaspora here, or people who have traveled abroad, there is a silent animosity that happens between. So there is no point meeting or congregating with the diaspora that comes back. So you have to invent your own way. You have to do your own thing. You have to crawl back as you used to before. So it's like almost a vicious cycle where you don't know who is going to come at you. Me, I'm an open book. Yeah, primarily because I'm a woman. Women have always been in charge of education. Men have relegated themselves to nothing, simply because they don't want to be part of the education of the next generation. They think that they're going to sustain their pensions by keeping quiet and ordering people around with loud voices. Nobody listens to that. Women will protect their children from men who are violent in that manner. So yeah, in product development, you continue and continue and continue until you get there. That's how the founders started it. So there is nothing that is going to be ever new or ever different. You just have to watch, look around what you see. You copy it, you test. If it doesn't work, everybody learns from nature. For instance, cars, they were built from imaging different body parts of animals and creatures. The train, when you see a millipede, scientists designed and understood how things worked. For the sake of food being put on the table, scientists had gone to wars, fought each other, used natural resources and people. Now we're at a stage where what can happen with this nail right now is you can see the first attempt, first done on paper, had taken this shape. A mistake supposedly has been made. How are we going to put this nail on this nail bed? So you take the next sample, you put your fingers around, and you've created another one again. Yeah, my story is supposedly a sad one when it comes to being a professional. As a mom, I take my solace in the fact that I've been able to get things done. So there is nothing really to be sad about except reflection, because some things are still continuing to happen.